What are the dumbest questions I've been asked? I will say more of funny questions. I won't. I believe there's nothing dumb in art. I don't believe there's a dumb question in art because we will probably find answers to those questions. We'll probably give answers to those questions. So I will say funny questions that people have asked me. Okay, some people have asked me if the cost of my hat, if a hat can go for 2,000 naira in Nigeria, that's about $5. And I open my mouth and start laughing because it is very funny. It is very funny because we put in a lot of work and time and energy, and for someone to ask the question if they can get a hat for 2,500 is a joke, really. So it deserves being laughed at, and I don't think I will do that for any reason. I'd rather give it out as a gift because there's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's value in what we do. We give value, so we would rather people value our work and not ask those kind of questions because I consider them funny. Another question is, oh, why are your pieces so expensive? Like I said before, we put in a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of handwork. And I won't say zero glue, but most of the time we tend to reduce the use of glue. So we do a lot of hand sewing, hand stitching, and which raises the bar for whoever wants to purchase our hats. So they're valuable pieces, and we encourage people to buy value. Buy value. It's not in the cost, but it's the value you get from it. And some other questions have been asked. People ask, are the feathers real? Oh, I laugh because, okay, yes, we get some real feathers from birds that shed their feathers, but that's a one-off. The feathers are synthetic, and people don't really know this, so we educate them when they ask this kind of question. What else? What other funny questions? And so many questions that are very funny. I guess that's just a few. Okay, so another question, another funny question is, oh, did you really make this hat, or are you sure you can make the hat? Are you sure you can make it? Are you sure? And I open my eyes or I laugh, like, why would I send you a picture, or why put a picture on my handle when I know that I did not do it, or I will never do such a thing. Our brand is placed on integrity, and we try not to use anybody's work on our platforms, and if we do, we give credit to whoever has made the piece so that we stay original. And so whatever is seen on our platforms, we make them ourselves, and proudly made by us, and not anyone else. So if you see a picture on our platform, even if you see another picture as inspiration, as long as you've seen things that are similar, or we tell you we can make it, we sure can make it. So if you make us look funny by asking us if we're sure, if clients make us look funny by asking us if we're sure we can make it, I tend to laugh, and probably sometimes I will probably consider some of those clients time wasters because they might not eventually give you the work, and so they wasted your time by asking you some funny questions. How did I identify and develop my talent? Okay, it's not a strange territory at all. Craftsmanship and working with one's hands is I will call it an innate gift because I come from a family of crafters. We have one thing or the other that makes us creative. There's someone who, when he talks, the whole building, the whole environment just lifts up their head and they're like, who is that? He's got a baritone voice, and that's his creative side. There's someone who, when she dresses up, you are overtaking and you want to be like that person. You want to, so dressing up, lifestyle, styling is her own thing. There's someone who makes slippers, who makes leather work. So we have a lot of that in our family, and we have people who make garments, who so it's inborn, and I was born into that kind of family where everybody has something. Even when they go to work, when they have a 9 to 5, they have something that they do. They have something extra about them. So we are a little bit extra. We're just a little bit extra. Okay, so how I developed that talent. For me, I will say that it was accidental. I didn't know. Yes, I have a gift. I know that I love the arts. I love working with my hands, and I love creating things. I love drawing. I love sketching. I just love to work with my hands. I love turning things from nothing to something, and I love turning used items to something that is valuable. So and I didn't exactly look down on that gift, but I always thought, okay, the corporate world, okay, 9 to 5, a job, that's all I always wanted. So I just wanted to go to school. If I knew that I will be doing what I'm doing today, I would have just gone to study a relevant course in design, fashion design, or product design. I would have gone to school to study something like that, but it didn't turn out that way. So I did like a 360. I went to do something else, something entirely different. I went to school and I studied history and strategic studies. Um, if I had known, I would have done something else so that so that I guess I would have probably grown beyond where I am today if I had done that and if I had known. But it is what it is, and I'm here today. I'm where I am today, and I'm grateful to God for that. But so I would say it was accidental. It was accidental that I'm doing what I'm doing today because my sister started making hats like 20 years ago, and I never thought. I didn't learn from her per se. I just passed by whenever she was making her hats. I didn't even. I don't think I took any notice to what she was doing. Yes, I knew what she was doing. I knew the processes, but I wasn't exactly interested. I was interested in something else. So I could do it if they brought me to it, but I just didn't think it was my thing. Okay, so my sister relocated to the United States, and I one day I I picked it up because I wanted to go to church and my hair was in a mess. So I decided to make something. Make something, like I said, we make something out of nothing. We make something out of roughages. So all the roughages she left behind, I took them. I took some of them and I made stuff, so just like a head covering to church. So I made stuff for myself for church, and people saw it and they were like, "Wow! Oh, really? Oh, you made it! Oh, wow! Oh, wow!" And a few of my friends from there started asking or requesting for it, and one friend in particular who is late today, um, she she requested for them, and I said, okay, I'll make for you, and she insisted that she will pay for it, so that I must make sure I make them, and I did, and she paid, and she always requested just to encourage me, just as an encouragement, and that really meant a lot, and that's why I cherish her till today. And one of our pieces, one of our collections, Sweet Child collection, is named after her, um, because she was a sweet child and that was her pet name, so to say. Yeah, she really liked the name. It was her email address at the time. And so we have a Sweet Child collection named after her. Um, what else? What and who helped me? Oh, like I said before, I had a lot of friends who encouraged me. I also had my mom. My mom, my grandma, my my grandma was a seamstress, even though she did other things. But my grandpa planted trees. He just as a hobby. My grandfather was an engineer at the railway corporation in Nigeria, and but his pastime was planting trees, and he had so many trees in his compound then in his house, very large expanse of land, and he planted trees. He loved to plant trees, and some of those trees we remember. We climbed those trees when we were small. Mango trees, almond tree, different trees, and he loved to work with his hands, and so did my father. My father loves farming, and he does that till today. My mom was a costume designer and a makeup artist. She used to work backstage in the Nigerian Television Authority. So it was something I grew up knowing, something I grew up loving, something that I didn't have to do it physically, but I think it was just a part of me. It was, when you've not exactly gone to school to learn something, and you pick up your pen that you just want to draw something, and you start drawing, and you're getting the hang of it, and it's flowing, and you're like, oh, really? So I can do this. And I guess that's it with us in our family. That's how it happens. We just pick it up and start. We don't think too much about it. We don't overthink it. We don't have to go to school to learn it. It just comes. So I think I owe these things, and that's the same way my sister learned, even though she had to go to someone who trained her, but she started doing that. I think it didn't take up to 1 week before she caught on and started making hats. So it didn't take her anything. So I got strength from all these people who my aunt was also a seamstress. Until today, she does all sorts of things. Same as my mom. My mom makes clothes, she designs, she sketches, she just loves art. And I think that's a lot of encouragement. And so, on a more professional side, um, I will owe this to someone I hold dear. She's in the UK. She's a milliner. Her name is Catherine Elizabeth, um, of Catherine Elizabeth Millinery in the UK. And she, even after I had contacted so many people in the UK for training, she was the only one who gave me an audience, so to say. Yes, she gave me an audience. She welcomed me, and even though she was moving at that time, she was moving studio locations. She opened her doors, even in the mess, in all of the mess. She opened her doors to train me, and I owe some of this to her, and I'm grateful to her as well. Um, I have a lot of inspiration from people here locally, and from people in the in in the UK, in Europe, um, and they're not necessarily milliners. Some of them are architects, some of them are milliners, some of them are product designers, some of them are interior designers. Um, everything inspires me. There's no limit to what inspires me, and I tend to pick things from everywhere, from cars, from nature, from architectural designs, from product designs, from interior decor, from art, from paintings, from sculptures. So there's no limit. There's no limit at all as far as I'm concerned. So everything I pick, I can translate them into hat making, and my pieces are also unique in such a way that you can use them as artwork. You can use them as wall art. There are no restrictions. You can put them on your head, and you can place them on the wall. Any way you see it fit to use it, it works. It is durable, it's long lasting, it's sustainable, and it's functional. It's very functional. So it works for you. You can turn it into a neck piece, you can turn it into a headpiece, you can put it on your wall, you can beautify wherever you want to beautify. You can beautify your space with it. So I think for me, millinery or craftsmanship, I will say. I won't limit it to millinery, because when you're a craftsperson, you're not limited. You're not limited. You just keep going. You just keep going. Yes, okay, you focus on one thing. Okay, you're making hats, but there's a whole lot of possibilities, and we're exploring those possibilities every day. Coping with isolation. That's very interesting, because it wasn't funny for me at first when it started, because in 2019, at the end of 2019, my business was on a high, and I thought, okay, by 2020 we're going to another level. We're doing different things. We're doing new things, new structure, new ideas, new innovation, new, just name it. And the pandemic came, and I was like, oh my God. At first, I was in shock. I would say I was a bit depressed, but I had to shake it off at some point and started making use of the time not doing anything. I found something to do. I found life in isolation. I found myself. I found my writing back. I journaled. I sketched. I I made hats. Um, I was creating something out of nothing, out of scrap. I, you know, so many things came out of isolation that I'm grateful for today. So um, it was mixed feelings, but you win some, you lose some. Something has to give, but we learn every day, and I think I'm a lot better. I'm a better person even through it all. Oh yes, I believe designs of hats are changing. Designs of hats change every now and then, but I don't think it's anything new. There's really nothing new under the sun, and I believe most of these inspirations come from things that are already existing or things that people see every day. So we cannot erase the past, we cannot erase history, and I, for one, love vintage. I'm vintagey, very vintagey. I love vintage. Anything vintage, I just love it so much. Antiques. So I I tend to infuse vintage and contemporary designs together, and to make something um, more acceptable in the society today. But none of it comes from new designs. We can't totally eliminate history. So there's a bit of vintage in every design if we want to tell ourselves the truth. So um, yes, people don't attribute their inspiration to history, to the past, but if you look at the designs very well, if you look at them carefully, you would realize that there's a tint of history, there's a bit of just a bit of history in those designs. When people look back to Nefertiti, to King Pharaoh, to the medieval times, um, you can't completely erase history when it comes to hats. I don't think so. So I believe so much in history. I believe history comes back every now and then to remind us that I was here. I was here, and you remember me. So many people remember history, and um, they represent them in. Do we have hats that seem unsuccessful? Yes, I will say so. After making a piece of hat and you realize that people are not so keen about it, or they, no, I'm not okay. And this happens mostly for some hats that you just make ready-made pieces. No, I don't like the color, or I don't like the style. It's not my style. I want something different, something funky, something wild, something okay. So this is too dull. This is um, those kind of hats I will call unsuccessful because they're not what people's style. People don't really like them. I don't know. I don't know how to explain this. People are not keen on those kind of designs, and which is why we do more of bespoke. I would rather create something that says something about the client. I would rather ask the client or get to know the client and create something that is personalized to the client instead of making something from the top of my head. When I make things from the top of my head, I just make them as artwork. I think that's how I will define that. I make things from inspiration in my head, things that I think about, things that I dream of, things that I just want to create. I make them as ornaments and wall art and pieces to design your spaces at the end of the day, because when I make those pieces, they're just from my imagination. They're just things that it's the crafty, arty part of me that creates those pieces. They might not necessarily be practical on the head, and they may be practical on the head for runways and not practical for events, for everyday wear on the head. So we need to put things in perspective when we create our pieces. So these pieces are just created for photo shoots and all of that, but not exactly created for people to wear on their heads. So people will wear it on their heads for photo shoots, but you can also put it on the wall. I think that's my own idea. I would prefer to do things for people based on their preferences, based on their personality, based on their style, based on what they want, or based on the occasion, or yeah, so that they have a good experience, they have a good feel. I don't like to force people to wear things that I create just because I want to sell them off. It's not about the money for me. It's not about, it's about making the client comfortable. It's about making the client feel good about themselves. It's about making the client, how would I put it? The client has to be satisfied. Yes, at the end of the day, the client has to be happy. The client has to give you a good review. So that's what we aim for when we work with bespoke clients. And sometimes some pieces are just not. So when we work with bespoke clients and we find out what a few demographics like, we will probably produce those items for retail, as opposed to using things from our own imaginations, things that we just want to create out of, okay, it's an artwork, we've created it for photo shoot, and okay, I'll stop here. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Also, there's so many hats that I'm proud of. I'm proud of the hats that clients call me and say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I love my hat. I love my hats. Even though in creating those hats, sometimes I'm scared. I'm like, oh, is it nice? I'm not sure. But when the client gets it and they're like, oh, I love my hat, I love my headpiece, those are the hats that I'm proud of. Those are the hats that I'm very happy about. And I am also proud of the hats that I make as artwork, because it's from my imagination. It's not necessarily for a client to wear on their head. It's just from my imagination, and I love them when I make them after I'm done. It's not necessarily for sale. I don't have to sell those hats. They're just statement pieces, they're avant-garde pieces that are not exactly for anyone to put on their heads, so to say. Maybe it's for a runway or for a photo shoot or for a demo or something. It's not exactly, or it's a structural piece that says something, that the aesthetics are different. It's not for a silhouette, so to say. It's for creating. It's for art. I will call it more bringing my imaginations to life in work of art. It's not for the benefit of for a party, or no. It's just something that makes me happy, and it makes me proud that I made this. So I can make things with wires, I can manipulate wires and turn them around into a masterpiece. But it's not necessarily for the head. So yes, I make things that clients have asked me to make that look like a challenge at first, but it turns out and it comes out well. It's not necessarily for an outing, it's not for a party. I've made a headpiece, like a monument before. I've made a headpiece, a paper origami this wide before, and it was just for a photo shoot. It was just for a statement. It was just, oh, I have arrived kind of statement. And afterwards, it was put on a wall as a wall art. So it's not necessarily those pieces I am proud of. I am very proud of them. Yeah, I'm proud of those pieces. Have I ever been to Russia? Oh no, I haven't. I haven't, but I would love to. I know there's so many creative people in Russia. I've had a training here in Nigeria, organized by a few people, and the trainer was Anna Hollowed. Anna Hollowed, so I think she does backstage props designs, and she creates flowers and things like that. She creates a lot of props, and she was here in Nigeria from Russia. And I know I've ordered an online course from Russia before, flower making course from Russia, so I have that as well. And I know there's so many creative people in Russia, and it will be a lovely, lovely opportunity to come to Russia and meet those kind of people and rub minds and learn from them as well. So even if it's for a day, I would love to come to Russia at some point if you will have me. So. Okay, so you said you have a project. Of course, I'm sure I can provide you some images if you let me know, or if you explain better, or you let me know what this project is about. If I have a better understanding, I will know the kind of pieces, the kind of pictures to send to you. So, yes, sure. I would love that. Do I have rituals that help me work? Oh, yes, I do. Whenever I'm working, I like to listen to music. So I listen to gospel music, listen to a lot of worship. Um, I'm a Christian, and I believe in God. So God is my talisman, I will say. And I work I work at night sometimes, so I can catch up on work. I do midnight work when I do that, I turn on YouTube and I listen to nonstop worship music, and it keeps me going. It keeps me inspired. It keeps me going, and I love that so much. And it's also a time to spend with God. It's also a time to spend in worship, to spend in His presence. It's a time to love on Him and delight in His presence. And because the gift that I have is not of me, is not. It's God given. It's a gift. It's a talent that has been given to me by God. And when I do that, it sort of makes me happy that I'm giving God glory. I'm giving Him His due. I'm spending time with Him, and I'm also doing what He has put in my hands to do. The gift He has placed in my hands to do, I am also using it to worship. So whenever I do those things, it's a form of worship to God. It's a ritual to God that, okay, you've placed this in my hands, you've blessed my hands, and I'm giving this back to you. And that's how that goes for me. Okay, so you want to know about missed opportunities. Um, Sometimes there are things I don't like to talk about missed opportunities in my business, because it brings tears to my eyes. It makes me really sad. But I've learned that going through stuff and going through things like this, it helps other people grow. And I tell my story to help other people not make the same mistakes that I made. I tell my story to help someone else, to encourage someone else, to help someone else grow. I tell my story to guide someone else through on the right path, so that they're secure. And so here goes. A couple of years ago, I was in the UK, and I signed a contract for an exhibition that was meant to happen. And I was happy about it. I was in high spirit. I was really excited. But the year for the exhibition came, and I wasn't able to attend the exhibition, and I wasn't able to make the payments for the exhibition, even though I had plans to fulfill that payment. And okay, I thought it was gone, but at the end of the day, I was asked to repay, even if I didn't attend the exhibition. I was asked to repay like £3,600 plus, even though I wasn't able to attend the exhibition for reasons, yeah, beyond my control. I was asked to pay. That was heartbreaking for me. And it was a missed opportunity, one, and it was a loss to me on the other hand. We went back and forth with the financial, the people, the financial institution that requested for the money back. It hurt me really bad. It hurt me really bad. But my husband helped me out, and we were able to negotiate for a lesser rate. So we eventually paid 2,000 plus pounds, and we're paying installmentally. All that loss broke my heart. It really did, because I could have put in that money and done something else. And, with the money, it was my investment that I had to pay, and I wasn't able to go for the event, and it was a loss. It was a great loss for me, and it was a sad one. But I had to pay anyways, and I put that behind me. I eventually finished making payments in 2019. I was very excited. I was happy. I was happy. Not 2019. Okay. I eventually finished making the payment in 2020. Even in the pandemic, I still made payments. I made payments. I made payments, and it's one of those things. You win some, you lose some, and you shake it off and you move on. You move on to a brighter future. You move on to better things. It was a loss. It was a missed opportunity, because I know if I had attended the exhibition, it would have opened doors, but maybe it wasn't the time yet. So I thought about so many things. I thought about so many things that could have been, that would have been, or should have been, or maybe it wasn't meant to be. Well, whatever. I don't know. But I know that there's a bright future ahead. So I will wait for that future. I will wait for the bright future, and I will stop crying about spilled milk, because it's already happened and it's in the past now. So I've grown from it. I've grown to become a better person. I've grown to become a better business person. I've grown to stop making terrible decisions because it was as a result of a bad decision. If I hadn't signed the contract, I wouldn't have been made to pay back what I signed. So it was a bad decision. So I know not to make those kind of mistakes anymore. I know that, so that's what it is. I hope someone will learn from that and just wait. Wait until it's time. Wait until they're ready for an investment like that. Or will the designs of hats change in the next 10 years? Yes, they will change. They will change, but it's like when things change and they go on a 360, they will change, but it will not exactly, I said that before earlier, it will not exactly be something we have not seen before. Really, they'll just be elements, different elements, new elements, or from old elements combined together, a fusion. So it will look different, but we will see the elements, the different elements that already exist. So I'm not saying that it will not change. It will change, but you will know that it was built upon, not that it's totally new, that it has never been seen before. I don't think so. I'm not sure. Because so what organizations like Exteris do is to see into the future and say, okay, like the last exhibition, they introduced, okay, great pieces for the future, that see into the future. And they were a bit different, but not elements that we haven't seen before. They're nice, they're new, they're fresh, but with a bit of mix. So I don't think it'll just be totally isolated, like, okay, there are no elements that have not been seen before. I don't know if if I'm passing across the right message, but I think it will change. It will change. It may change significantly. It might not change significantly. It will change, but it will not be without history, pretty much. Thank you. Which hat is ideal for Lucky? I will say a top hat, but a stylish top hat. So a stylish top hat. Yeah, a stylish top hat. I've always seen that as lucky, fluid, flows with any event, so to speak. It's more medieval, but there's a bit of contemporary feel to it. So a stylish top hat. For dramatic, it will be a Marie Antoinette fusion. So a fusion of, yes, a mix of Marie Antoinette with some contemporary feel to it. It will have height, feathery, and it will flow in any dramatic evening event, at any dramatic evening event. And I think we have the right description for that.